Well, I think this is the big story today because it is going to affect just about every sector of the
That's right.
economy, be it in the air, on land, at sea. Is going to affect everyone. And that is a problem concerning Pengassan, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, which has directed its members nationwide to withdraw their services following the alleged mass dismissal of some Nigerian workers by Dangote Refinery. Pengassan announced this in a circular issued after an emergency National Executive Council meeting on Saturday, which of course was signed by its General Secretary Lumumba Kubawa.
Also, the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, on Sunday placed its members on strike notice over what it tagged as anti-worker policies currently being implemented by the Dangote Refinery management. The TUC also placed its members on alert for a nationwide strike should Dangote Refinery fail to reinstate its sacked workers and issue a full apology to the workers for its labor practices.
In a related development, the federal government has urged the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria to reconsider its proposed strike starting today over its dispute with Dangote Refinery. Minister of Labor and Employment Muhammad Dingyadi, who made the plea on Sunday, said his ministry had taken steps to bring both parties to a roundtable to stop their dispute over from escalating further.
Well, it's quite a handful this morning. Ever since the Dangote Refinery came on board, it's been one battle after another. I remember first it was the NNPCL. Dangote fought that battle, eventually emerged victorious. But let's look at the issue on ground today. Pengassan, Dampman, Nupeng, they are making some strong allegations against Dangote Refinery that he has prevented his workers from joining labor unions, that Dangote doesn't pay his workers well, and the latest one being that he sacked 800 workers because they indicated interest to join various unions. As expected, Dangote himself last week denied most of these allegations. In terms of payment, he said he pays his workers well. But the truth is, if you take a look at Dangote beyond the refinery, if you take a look at other companies that were in existence before the refineries came on board, what were workers' rights like in those companies? There have been allegations that the man makes billions and billions at the detriment of his workers, that he doesn't treat his workers the way he ought to. We've heard that allegation over and over again, though at every given opportunity, he comes out to deny such allegations. Now, the recent one being the sack of over 800 workers in one swoop. Is it a coincidence that the 800 workers who were sacked were those who indicated interest to join unions? Though Dangote is saying officials they were sabotaging the process or the working process in the refinery. So how come that it was only this set of workers, 800, who indicated interest in joining unions? Just about the time the issue of unionization was being discussed, that was when they were sacked for sabotaging the refinery. So for me, it is too much of a coincidence. It shows that there is something that Dangote is not telling the world. But beyond that, let's also look at Pengassan. Pengassan has been in existence for as long as I can remember. Pengassan, Nupeng, and that man. That man is of recent, or maybe they baptized them and gave them a new name. But Pengassan, Nupeng, they've been around. And for these two unions, I have never heard that they embarked on a protest over the comatose refineries we've had. We have four refineries in Nigeria. None of them is working. But every month, people get paid. Every other year, you hear of turnaround maintenance, billions of dollars being sunk into those refineries. I've never heard that Nupeng protested and down tools because of the state of those refineries. I never heard that Pengassan down tools because of the state of those refineries. Now, for someone, a private individual, an individual to invest $20 billion, all of a sudden you want to dictate how he should run his company. It's a no-no. There is nobody that would accept that. And the earlier the Pengassins and Nupengs of this world understand that, the better for them. Dangote Refinery has been more or less a savior for Nigeria. As we speak, despite all the bottlenecks and everything, the man has succeeded in ensuring that the refinery remains afloat. First, now had a special arrangement and dollar, naira. Formerly, they said he must buy in dollar. Eventually, they now said, okay, crude for naira. We've seen all manner of obstacles being put in place by certain elements who do not want the refinery to work optimally for the betterment of Nigerians. Yes, there are concerns that Dangote has always enjoyed monopoly, but I'm yet to see somebody come out to say, I applied for a license. Federal government gave me a license, and Dangote stopped me from operationalizing that license. What we have heard over time, even from the federal government, is that many licenses were issued. How many of those licenses have materialized apart from Dangote today? So for me, we should give the man all the necessary support that he needs. If other people are interested in playing in that sector or in that part, subsector of the oil sector, they should do well to get their money, get the tools, and get involved. The man should have the final say on how he wants his company to be run. It's as simple as that.
Well, this thing cuts both ways. One is the welfare of workers. Unionization of an entity is constitutional, and Nigeria is a signatory to, the labor laws up to the International Labor Organization. We even have May 1 as Labor Day in Nigeria. And there is freedom of association. Much as, like you said earlier, Pengassan Nupeng, we have Dapman now, they've not been fighting government over the fact that billions of naira, or dollars if you like, have been sunk into the comatose refineries. And even lately, there had been another trick again to make Nigerians believe that Venezuelans, who we fallaciously call expatriates in Nigeria, why are they treated like human beings and Nigerians not being treated at the same way? We see it physically even on the road, even the security they get, even the apartments they live in. As for salary, we cannot say because the workers there themselves should talk about their salaries, whether they are earning well or not somebody alleging anywhere. The workers themselves should be able to even whisper, all right, for fear of being sacked, which we have seen now. There is this crude for naira or naira for crude, conversation. Only last week we heard that Dangote has suspended the crude for naira, but later, a few hours later, we heard okay they had reversed it. So Dangote had, especially the refinery, has been a sick baby since the inception, even while it was being midwifed. At what point will Dangote not be the talking point when it comes to controversies of this nature? Anyway, belatedly, the ministry is coming on board to deal with the matter, to have them around a, dialogue table. But will that sort it out? Even the check-off dues are from the salaries of the workers, by the way. It's just for them to have a say, particularly in the welfare of their members. And they have members, I'm talking about labor now, and their affiliates everywhere. Why should Dangote be different? The labor should wake up. Any organization that has formed a quorum that should make it to be unionized, labor should ensure that it is done so because, yes, what the Constitution recognizes it. And the ILO Convention, to which Nigeria is a signatory, allows it as well. Dangote is big enough to be called another Nigeria, no doubt, but it is not Nigeria. Yes, labor has not been the military. Labor was strong. They faced hard times. The Frank Kokoris of this world, if they can telephone us from the world beyond, they can tell us all that he saw. the effect of which he never, recuperated from, completely until he passed. Others can tell you even more stories. Even Ajero today had a fair share of it in Imo State prior to the election in that state that threw up, Hope Uzodinma for his second term. So it tells you the story of labor leaders and labor union members and all that. But I think it's important because some persons or some unions, some bodies within must stand in the gap for the welfare of the staff. Anyway, since the ministry is talking, let's wait and see.